And I'm going to say the problem that people have with like with the Little Mermaid now. Okay, you know that Ariel is usually a fair skin. It's a white girl. It's gonna be played by a black girl. In essence, I don't see it as in essence, I don't see it as a bad thing. What I see it as a bad thing is that can't you create new characters based on actual, backgrounds that support that kind of ethnicity? Like, I love Black Panther. That made sense to have this background, this ethnicity. It fitted. It was great. And nobody complained at that moment, hey, Black Panther is not played by a white man. That nobody complained about that. And people flocked to watch that movie. And that movie was more than $1 billion. So it's not about that. And some say that people want to see themselves on screen. People want to see people like them on the screen. And I'm going to tell you about 3 examples. I'm going to tell you about 3 examples that I identified myself on the screen with people that did not look like me. And the first one was the Cosby Show. I remember fondly watching the Cosby Show. Yeah, everything what happened with Bill Cosby afterwards. Okay, that is nothing nice. It's a rough topic, whatever happened afterwards. But let's talk about the Cosby Show itself. I loved the Cosby Show, and I think there was no Latino in there at all. And I love the Cosby Show. I think I watched every single episode back in Venezuela. And you know which other show I loved? I really loved with all the messages that it had. Different Strokes. Different Strokes was an amazing show where the protagonists also did not look like me. And I identified with their struggles and their lives and what happened to them in so many ways. And it's like you get this emotional connection when you can write a great show. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter if the person doesn't look like you. You relate to them. I love Different Strokes, and I'm sure it's safe to say that 99% of the viewers right now, my body language buddies, love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's impossible to not like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Was it diverse? Not at all. Was it fun? You bet. You could identify with any of the characters. There was all this cast. Amazing cast that played their roles in an amazing way, and you had fun, you had messages, you learn a lot about yourself just by looking in that mirror. So I think that is bullshit. That you need you absolutely need to see people like you in a show to enjoy it. Of course, I enjoyed Ricky Ricardo, but at that moment, of course, I didn't see myself as a Latino. You can understand that. I was a young boy. A young boy doesn't see himself as the ethnicity he belongs to, because in Venezuela, where we still are quite varied. It's like you have ethnicity in Venezuela. It's like a box of chocolates. It's like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get, and we're a mix of everything. So maybe that's another way that I learned to it was normal to coexist with every single ethnicity that you could think of. So that was normal to me. So I guess that was normal to me to see any kind of show with any kind of protagonist and not be offended if they were not Latino or anything. So these arguments nowadays are don't have any actual pillars to stand on. And all this, when Megan, for example, talks about stereotypes, there are stereotypes. There's stereotypes that we should fight that are not, well, quite correct in cinema. We have less stereotypes because I think that because Hollywood producers, especially Hollywood producers, have become so afraid to offend anyone that they're always betting on the safe side. And let's do this. Let's go all woke. But they haven't realized yet that if you go woke, you go broke. This is fact, man. This is just a fact. Desmond's too. Yeah. This is my point of view. This is how I think how all these arguments are flawed. I can understand that people want more representation of maybe their particular struggles on the screen, but it's a fallacy. It's not true that every single ethnicity has a representation on the current media, because this is something that people don't say. If you go to, for example, if you're watching Netflix from Latin America, if you're watching Netflix from Ecuador, for example, you will get programs that are maybe suited for you and for your ethnicity, and maybe, of course, in Spanish, and maybe you're related to these stories, and maybe you're related to this kind of struggles, and that is okay. Maybe in Asian countries, I don't know how Netflix works in Asian countries, but I know that they will have this little bias, normal bias to Asian countries. That makes sense, okay? And if you go to Europe, it's the same. If you got certain countries in Europe, it's the same. If you go to the United States, it's the same too. So it's like everybody is getting, by virtue of those algorithms, what they want to actually watch. So all these social justice warriors wants to make it seem like there's an unfair distribution, when there's not. There's a lot of content, of independent content, of every single way that you want to be. That maybe the big studios are flopping because they want to show down our throats messages that have no actual meaning to us, that there are no grasp to us, that are just nonsense. Well, it's their fault. But as for me, I for one, I really don't watch much TV or at all. I haven't been to the movies in a long time. I think since the start of the pandemic. So and that has been very few instances and where I said, hey, this is worth watching, and it's usually not a big tentpole movie. Yeah, we are all sick of the woke agenda, and this is gonna crumble by itself. There's gonna be on this echo chamber. They will not be able to go to get outside to get the profits that, for example, Top Gun Maverick did. It was just an action flick, a fun action flick. That's it. No pretension, no stereotypes. There was no villain. How can you make an amazing movie without a villain? They made it. Tom Cruise made it. He made an amazing sequel to one of the greatest flicks of the 80s, Top Gun, without a villain, and he nailed it. $1 billion movie. Amazing. It can be done. There's still people willing to go to the movies to watch great movies, but we need this common sense to be spread again and realize that we can watch The Cosby Show, Different Strokes, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I Love Lucy, I don't know, The Flintstones. Okay, I don't like The Flintstones because I don't live in the Stone Age. How can I like that? How can you like The Flintstones if you haven't lived in the Stone Age? How can you find yourself represented in that show? Well, that was a great example. It was archetypical. That was almost archetypical of things, The Flintstones. But that is a topic for a longer rant, and you know that once I get wind winding, well, nobody can stop it. I'm gonna read the super chats. I'm going to. Oh my God! It's almost 1 hour. How long? How long have been have I been rambling in here? Oh my God! Sorry about this. The Jetsons too. Yeah, especially when he's going to give his wife the bill and she takes the whole wallet. That is stereotypical. But facts. The Jetsons. I didn't. Someone is gonna come and say, I didn't like the Jetsons because they had this oppression of robotic. That robotic maid was oppressed by the patriarchy. Poor, I don't know what was the name of the robot maid of the Jetsons in English. I know that in Spanish was Robotina, but I don't know in English. But she was oppressed. It was artificial intelligence oppressed by the patriarchy, even in the future.